with this amount of pruned stock that we got off of this powder blue, I probably could attempt to make 50 blueberries, blueberry plants off of these cuttings. Dean Family Acres. Hey guys, so this year we're taking a little bit different direction in regards to our blueberry plants. In the past, what we've done is actually prune them about this time of year. And if you'll notice, I'll kind of zoom in here in just a little bit, but all these buds all over this blueberry bush. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start pruning as soon as they fruit to help promote that growth. You know, we pruned this one back hard about 2 years ago and it just came out like crazy. It's done really, really well. This is the one that came from my grandmother's house. And so this year, the only thing we're going to do at this time is we've got one sucker that's coming up on this side over here. And I'm just going to prune it so that it will fork and bush out and not just be one single shoot coming up. Let me move you around over this way and let you see why that's the case. If you see this shoot right here coming up, that came up last year or year before, and it was just one single branch, and I didn't cut it back. If I'd have cut it back, it would have forked out multiple times. See, we do have some forking, but I'm going to debating about doing that because this is already loaded up with buds here. It's already loaded up with buds as well. So not exactly sure how we want to prune this, or if we're just going to wait for it to fruit this year. I do think this one here that I'll prune back just because it's growing straight into the middle. And then we've got another one down here at the bottom. It's always hard to catch it on camera. This is obviously just going crazy, but I think because of how much we're already going to have on this tree this year, I am going to prune this back so that it will shoot out this way. Same for this one. It's growing up against our well house. So if you kind of look at that, I'm going to shoot it and I'm going to prune it basically where we've got a node that's coming up, probably this one here. Let's see if I can get you any closer there. Focus. You can kind of see that node there is pointing out this way. If I did this, it would just kind of come up and everything else. This one tends to want to grow this direction. And we also have these others from last year that are coming up. I always have folks ask me in regards to, you know, what varieties we have. I should just call this my grandma's bush. I'm not exactly sure what kind it is. Please excuse the roosters today. This one is a powder blue. I do know that because I bought this one from Lowe's on clearance and planted another one next to it. The other one didn't make it, but this one did, although it took a couple years to take off. So I do know that this is a powder blue. Bud here, so it should come out this way and that way. Again, it's not optimal because it's going that direction, but otherwise it's just cutting this off and it'll be another long branch. We'll see how this one goes this year. I'll probably let it fruit out and then trim it back. These here, this one here is the really long one that comes all the way up. We're gonna trim it so it'll come this direction. So right here, you can see there's a bud there. This branch goes all the way down to that bottom. Birds are killing us today. So you hate to see that much going to waste. But it's really not. It will produce, obviously it won't produce on this year like it would have. But it will force this plant to kind of bush out and grow more so that in the future you will have more blueberries. You can actually root these if you want to. We've done it in the past. I actually rooted 3 off of my grandmother's blueberry bush a couple years ago. I will say they're still not producing, and this is year 3. So in regards to being able to multiply some, you can. I just did it in a 2-liter bottle. You can check out that video here. But if you had a mist system set up where you could you know, take a cutting. I mean, you could probably do 6 different cuttings off of this one branch that I just trimmed off. So if you think about just multiplication, if you've got the setup where you can keep them misted, keep the temperature right, that kind of thing, I mean, you could multiply a whole lot of blueberries. That's the advantage of using just kind of the rooting method from your when you trim. The best advantage is doing blueberry suckers, and if you've never done that, then definitely check that video out here. Alright guys, so we've got this branch here. You can see it coming up, twist around, probably working around this building, and then coming around and up. We need this to come this way, out from the building. So what we're going to do is actually prune this here. We've got a bud here. This one's going to be coming this way. Got a bud here. Got to kind of just think through where you want it to come from. I don't want it to go really towards this building. We're going to have some growth underneath here, but I want it to come out. So let's kind of just think through this process. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed the process of us being able to get some more blueberries. With this amount of pruned stock that we've got off of this powder blue, I probably could attempt to make 50 blueberries, blueberry plants off of these cuttings. However, my success rate has not been nearly as high. I would say that we ended up with a little bit less than 50%, which honestly, if you're starting with 50 and you got only 50%, then you have a whole lot more just based off of this. The amount of time is the other issue. You're looking at least 3 years before these will produce anything, and probably those first couple years, even if it tries to produce, put on, you really want to pinch that back. You do not want it producing fruit those first couple of the years for sure, because you want it to be in root growth, because you're going from nothing to a complete bush or plant. And I'll show you those that we actually started 3 years ago, so you can actually see how those did off of cuttings. Alright guys, so hopefully you can see at least some of the different plants that we have here. This one here is actually our the ones that we turned this cutting into plants, and you see there are 3 here that have made it, but only one has really taken off and has done well. And again, this is about 3 years old, so some are still you know, less than a foot tall, and then this one is approximately, you know, almost 3 foot tall. So it's kind of hit or miss. I would say this one definitely has no problem. I think if we up potted these into some fresh soil, we're gonna use some specific acid loving fertilizer this year. In the past we've just used some 10-10-10, but we've got some holly-tone now, so we're going to be using that. Here's another one that was actually a sucker last year, and you can see how big it is. You can definitely get a much faster producing blueberry plant or bush by going the sucker route, but again, if you want to multiply multiple in a smaller area, and you have the time to commit to it, and you have the setup that you're willing to do, I would definitely encourage you to do cuttings, but just know that you're probably looking, at least from my perspective, 50% or less. And that, again, that was with a very small sample size. I think we started about 7, and we ended up with 3 that eventually made it all the way to this stage a couple years later, going through several winters outside, and have done perfectly fine. This is the year, at least for sure, that this big one will get put in the ground somewhere. Again, because these are the clones from my grandmother's plant that I no longer have access to. Thanks so much guys for watching. Hopefully y'all have enjoyed us talking a little bit about blueberries. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell like Mike Tyson did in the 1980s. Y'all have a blessed day. Don't forget to join us on Sunday as we talk about potting up blueberry suckers.